safe drinking water.
Got it. And who's completing all the monitoring?
So we actually set up a model. It's called a circuit rider model. And this model actually started in the 1700s. And I think it was actually formed off of clergy that would go and visit churches in the rural settings in the U.S. Because there wasn't enough clergy. And so they would need to divide up and have 8, 10 different churches they would go and visit. So the model kind of formed from that. And then it really was launched from the National Rural Water Association here in the U.S. And actually it's still going on today. So in Minnesota, our home state, we have actually 8 circuit riders that go around and provide water quality services to rural communities. So this is the same concept that we translated into Central America, that there's over 12,000 rural communities, and it's impossible for each community to have the technical capacity to maintain their water system. Now, I said the water systems are very basic, but still it's providing water for thousands of people at a time, and contamination can be deadly. And so ensuring that people have the right technical capacity, the right knowledge, and even just the ability to be able to test to see what's in the water, all that requires some external component. And that's what we were able to implement through our circuit rider model.
Got it.
So we actually have EOS technicians, and they go around and they're monitoring 50 or 60 communities on a monthly basis and gathering information that can really help monitor and measure, and then also take action if there's issues with the community's water systems.
And these are paid staff that you have, correct? Do I understand that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we started the model, it's complete, so we're investing in our staff. And so as I mentioned, one staff member can support 50 or 60 communities. And then we provide all the training and technical expertise, but we're also monitoring. And now we're tracking this data, and then we're reporting it back to the Ministry of Health or the Secretary of Health in each country to kind of share and be as transparent as possible. Yeah. But we've just started a pilot now. We're trying to transition to the next level of actually training water technicians from within the government. Okay. Trying to kind of transition our model on, because we know there's that technical knowledge needed, but ultimately we can only grow 50 communities at a time with a new circuit rider. And that obviously comes with donations and support. And so if we can actually find a unique way to actually leverage some of our services onto the municipal scale, onto the government level, then that could be a little bit more sustainable.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that makes really good sense. Do those that are receiving the water, do they pay into this in any way, or is this completely free, or how does that work?
Definitely. So, one of our core models as an organization is really leveraging market-based solutions. So it's a very jargony word, but what that essentially means is that our beneficiaries are also clients and partners. And so they're actually investing in the technologies. And so we have seen this kind of twofold. First off, we realized that by having the beneficiaries, the clients invest some of their money, they have skin in the game. And it also requires us to promote and provide kind of what's that value proposition of the product or service that we're offering. So it kind of holds a balance, a check and a balance. So then they're getting something of value and they're willing to pay for it. But also it helps keep us in line to make sure that we're providing enough value. And then finally, we can take that portion of the revenue that they're also supporting and leverage and invest it into the next community. So overall, about 50% of our products are about 50% subsidized. So they're covering about half of the total cost, and we're covering the other half with donations and supporters from the U.S. typically. And so they're actually investing in that, but then that helps kind of more of a longer term sustainable solution.
Right, and then that builds.
And then to go even.
Oh, sorry. I was just thinking that built-in accountability as well, where you're keeping your staff in check and the communities are like you say, they're invested. They've taken ownership for that. So their interest in being more. Absolutely. To keep that going long-term is really crucial.
Completely. And then we take it one step further, that not only are the communities, so we work with the communities there's a water board, so elected officials in each community that actually make decisions and basically monitor and run the water system for the whole community. Yeah. So they're the client actually investing in the product or service. But at an additional level, we also provide training, more administrative training, so then that community water board is ensuring that they're running a proper water utility for their community. So then setting up the right water tariff, as you have very good experience with this in Haiti. Yep. But just ensuring we basically help them balance their budget. So every year we go through calculate all the expenses, calculate all the revenue they would have from the water tap, and put it together and make sure we always budget a reserve. So for example, in 2020, as if the pandemic wasn't enough, there was 2 back-to-back hurricanes that came through, and just the heavy rainfall really damaged a lot of water systems. Nothing too, I mean, I guess there was some catastrophic. The majority of the water systems, a bunch of pipes were just washed out, or even some pipe bridges going across rivers were broken. And so having an additional reserve is really necessary. But then once they have all that kind of balance, then they're able to set the right water tariff for the next year, making sure that each community is paying so much per month. And the average tariff, for example, in Honduras is 50 cents, anywhere from 50 cents up to $1.50. So very affordable, very appropriate, but people ultimately are very willing to pay for it because they know they're getting drinking water, and on top of it, they're getting clean or safe drinking water, which is very critical. And so that's where we're kind of making sure that all that is really working in a very appropriate and systems approach.